we've been protecting our hairs for so long. Like, what are we protecting it from? Oh, the ailments, the damages, that. But then even through the protection, the hair is still getting damaged. The hair is not thriving. But we don't question certain things. If you glued other materials or other artifacts to the front of your head, that will be seen as a bit weird. But when it comes to us as a community growing the hair of other people on our hairline, this is triggering, I know, trigger. So let's go. So protective styling is a hairstyle that allows you to maintain the health and the length of your hair. So this term protective styling, where did it come from? I think the term protective styling came from when naturals were returning natural. So when we had the second natural hair movement, I like to call the first natural movement the time of the 60s and the 70s, where women were very boldly embracing the kinks and the curls of their hair. And I like to call the second natural hair movement where we had this desire of women all around the world wanting to embrace their curls and kinks. And we first saw the birth of the second natural hair movement, like the first, in the Americas. And that is why, and for some other reasons, why I always have a little soft spot for my people over the pond. Hello, hiya, brothers and sisters over the pond. I love you too. Love you loads. Bisu bisu. Examples of a protective style. If you've been on my channel for like long enough, you will probably notice that I wear my hair in protective styles like all the time. So currently my hair is in a protective style. I put my hair in 4 sections, put 2 twists in each section, and then just tuck them in itself, and then I put a little band here, and I've been wearing this for like a week or something now. I quite like it. I quite like it. You know, a style that preserves the health and the length of my hair. That's what you see here. Examples can be twists, braids, buns, updos, and the key thing about protective styles, they tend to protect the ends of your hair, and I think that's why they're called protective styles. Don't quote me on that. Ever since I've been natural or been part of this grow your beautiful hair movement, LOL, I've just known protective styles to have that very characteristic whereby the ends of your hair are protected. Some of you be like, why are you protecting the ends of your hair? What's so great about that? Well, for those of you who do not know, the ends of our hair are the oldest part of our hair, and they are very much inclined to breaking off if you have Afro-textured hair. Therefore, they need to be protected, and what better way to protect them than opting for protective styles that allow you to preserve the ends of your hair. Some naturals might not know this. You know, for a lot of us that have been natural for a long time, or those who are quite well versed in natural hair things, who might be natural for 5 minutes, will be familiar with what protective styling should do. But I know many people are not aware of that, and I honestly don't say that in arrogance. It's even when you watch videos and they're like, protective style, and then you see like hair's been left out, loads of products are being used that are not the best for the hair. You're like, that's not a protective style, that's just a hairstyle. I sometimes think as well, protective styles are used to justify the wearing of certain things, and are often used as an excuse for us to not learn our hair. This is not the case for everybody, because there's this narrative that all black women think the same, and people just really need to get to a point that we actually are very different. Very different, like all other races of people. We have similarities, but we have a lot of difference. Okay, you know, so I do find through observation we can sometimes use protective styles because we just don't want to do our hair. I get it, but at the same time it's at the detriment of our own hair. I don't like the fact that sometimes the protective style will take more of a front seat in our lives, or is that even the right terms? Our real hair will take a back seat, and we prioritize the wigs and the weaves and the braids more than the real hair. Yeah, that's quite problematic. I don't even mean that in a mean way, sorry. So old names for protective styles were just wigs and weaves. We're just called hairstyles. We're just hairstyles. And people will justify the wearing of wigs and weaves these days because, oh, I'm protecting my hair. But then when you look at the state of the natural hair movement, the second one that is, when it first came into play to now, and just how women are somewhat struggling to preserve the length of their hair, or maybe women have always been struggling that much, but they're just more confident to document it. But I will still say this, I find one common denominator is the fact that more women, more than ever, are utilizing wigs and weaves and fake hair as part of their hair regime. Whereas during the genesis of the natural hair movement, we saw a lot of women learning their hair. So getting their hands in their hair, not to over manipulate their hair. So learning how their hair twists up, how their hair is braided up, looking thoroughly at the strands. Whereas you can do this when you wear protective styles, absolutely. But I think a lot of the time when your hair is out, you're a bit more thorough with your hair regime. This has been my experience. And I personally have noticed that my hair has gone from help me to hello hair growth when I have omitted the fake hair. Like, I wear protective styles, let's just call them hairstyles. I wear additional hair here and there. Like, I went to Jamaica earlier this year. Yeah, man. Everything Irene? Yes, everything good, everything good. And I wore the longest braids ever. Like, they were booty crack length, low braids. And then I took them out. And then now my hair's like this. Like, I wear like fake hair maybe once or twice, and I'm happy I did that, and I'm happy it's that low, because there was a time you would not catch me with my real hair at all. No ma'am. One thing you have to understand is wearing certain hairstyles can be extremely damaging to the hair. Even when you wear your real hair, if you do not take the right precautions or handle your hair with care, it will cause damage. But I am noticing more and more that the fake hair is leaving some of our hair, our real hair, and even our body damaged. Even if you've been under a rock, you're gonna know that the thing that's in now is lace wigs with is it a density? I have not worn like a wig in so long. I don't even get the wig lingo. So several women wear lace wig. They let us change it up, you know. One minute they can be like a blue Becky, one minute they can be like a red hair Becky, the next minute they can be given like African Becky, you hear me? Hey, you know. So it's an excuse to change up your hair. Great. But one thing that's not said a lot is that the lace wigs has and can cause a lot of damage. Just think about it. I don't have children, but I just think those that have children, I think you learn a lot from children. Children are fascinating, you know. They really are. And honestly, God bless them and God bless parents, because I don't know how y'all do it. But hey, imagine if your child, right, was like, Mum, I'm going to take this glue stick and I'm just going to put it on my forehead and then stick some paper on it and just going to walk around. A lot of parents would be like, babe, or young man, that is not making any sense. The glue stick is for gluing things down, such as fabrics, not for your skin. I think we get where I'm going here. And I really don't mean, I hope I don't sound condescending or horrible or whatever. But some things we do and we don't really question it. We just do it, you know. We don't really question it. And I hopefully will touch on that, you know, about sometimes we just do things as a coming of age thing. It's not necessarily a thing of I don't like myself. No, you just do it. But we don't question certain things. If you glued other materials or other artifacts to the front of your head, that will be seen as a bit weird. But when it comes to us as a community growing the hair of other people on our hairline, this is triggering, I know, trigger. It's seen as normal. It's seen as normal. I think I'm not fond of it. I'm not fond of it, even though like it can look, I'm not going to say it doesn't look good. It looks good on some, and others it just doesn't look good. It just doesn't look good. It looks very artificial, but that's the look some people are going for. And you know what doesn't look good? That damage, that receding hairline because of damage, not because of medical condition, but because of a hairstyle. Like, I just don't think that sits or sounds well. Another thing is these protective styles, they don't only damage the health of our hair. I've said this in a previous video. Guys, if my eyes are like this, it is like late. It's bank holiday. Well, bank holiday tomorrow. And I'm just like, I need to do a video. Hey. Another thing is it damages our self-esteem. I don't have any stats, but it's just very telling that most naturals opt for protective styles more so than their real hair. And if you go out, and Rach, how do you know that? Okay, sometimes you don't necessarily need to have concrete stats. You can do some form of ethnographic research without even trying. So go out, I don't know where you live. If you live in the West, do this, especially if you live in the UK. Hey, what up? Just go out. So when you go outside and you're in an area where there is an array of people, just mentally take note of how many black women are wearing their hair like how I've got my hair today. They can maybe have locks, they might have braids with their real hair, twists with their real hair, high bun, etc. But it's their hair. They can maybe have a, even if it's a, well, even at a point now we don't even wear like a little bit of a piece. It's like everything is like covered away, as if our hair is just this scary thing and it's like the enemy. We've been protecting our hairs for so long. Like, what are we protecting it from? Oh, the ailments, the damages, that. But then even through the protection, the hair is still getting damaged. The hair is not thriving. We're going back to my little experiment. So go outside, or when you're in an area where there's a diverse amount of people, or where you're in a predominantly black space, and just take a mental head count of how many of us wear our hair out. And begin to ask yourself, why don't we wear our hair out like that? It's not a case where we're necessarily in the office, or where, because some people, they're in certain, let's be honest, this isn't my experience, that would be a real juicy thing if my management was like, Rachel, your hair is unkempt. I'd be like, excuse me, who? But it'll be very, very interesting to know why, and I think I do understand why many of us don't necessarily wear our real hair. One is, I think my number one thing is, people are going to think, oh, self-esteem. No, not necessarily that. I think a lot of us is we haven't learned our hair. We've just always had our hair in something. And earlier I mentioned something about a coming of age. I'm African, hey. And certain things we did with our hair, it was just like a coming of age. You're of a certain age, oh yeah, it's time to wear weave. It wasn't like, oh, because we hate the way our hair looks. For some people that was their experience. And if you recall in another video I did, if not, definitely check it out. I grew up with quite positive hair experiences where people would celebrate my hair, even when my hair broke off at one point, and even when my hair was relaxed, it was always like, oh, you got nice hair, oh, you know, it was like, oh, your hair, and you know, there was this love and adoration for my hair. So I'm not going to say like, oh, because we all hate ourselves. No, I think we haven't learned our hair, and rather than learn it, because let's be honest, it takes time, we'll just rather just wig it out. And for some of us, we'll mask it up. I had to change my looks. Yeah, you can change your looks, that's great, but maybe we should just take care of our hair. I will say another point, number two, but it's in no particular order, is there is some issues around self-esteem. This is what, and I'm just going to segue into the next point. The constant wearing of the hair has had a damage on how we view ourselves. Wearing of additional hair. The constant wearing of additional hair has had an impact on how we view ourselves, thus causing some form of mental damage. I know that's a bit like, oh, girl, that's a bit heavy. Girl, it is heavy. It's late at night. You know, these deep thoughts start coming in when you're about to sleep or waking up in the morning. Hello, praise God. And there is some truth to that. There is some truth to that for some, you know. You just question certain things like, why do I prefer to wear other people's hair on my head? And one thing I find quite startling is several women who are black subscribe to a faith. So we have a belief in a higher power, you know, of some sort. I believe in jar, lol. That was just a quote. Personal. I'm not even going to get into that story, lol. I believe in Jesus. I know, it shocks me too. Not that I believe in Jesus, just like, God, are you Christian? Yeah, I am. I read the Bible. Yeah, changed my life. Another story. Or some believe in, you know, Allah, others believe in Shango, some believe in crystals. Like, we all have this belief in something, and a lot of the time, and black people are quite spiritual in a lot of ways, in many ways. And where am I going with this? We're quite spiritual, and if you grew up in an African home, there was always some reference to, I rebuke that, or God forbid, like, just cast out, reject it, you know, all this evil energies or spirits, whatever people want to believe in. So having said that, a lot of the hair that we put on our hair has actually been sacrificed to gods that the black community may not worship. And if you're one of those people that, you know, get a bit frightened and things like that, then you wouldn't want to, surely you wouldn't want to put something that's been offered to a different god on your head if you believe in another god, because it could, I don't know, do stuff to you. I don't know. But, you know, I hope you get the point I'm making. We're very, very spiritual as people, and religious, as many people are, when it suits us. And I really hope I don't sound horrible when I say that, but it's just a very strange concept. Like, we don't want to bring anything that will attract this, or we don't want to rebuke that. What's that in Jamaica? People used to always say, obia or something like that. We reject that, all this thing, we cancel it, we rebuke it and stuff. But then the hair that's on your head has been sacrificed to some of these gods that you say are devilish. That's just food for thought. A lady did a video about this. I know Jamelia, the pop star, did it, and someone did it on YouTube years ago. And I remember at the time I was like, yeah, but I kind of think synthetic hair doesn't count. And there might be truth to that. But then also still continue with the topic of damaging. Synthetic hair allegedly might not be that damaging to the hair. It's fake. It's not being sacrificed to idols. Women are not going through stuff to cut their hair. Also, some of the women that we wear their hair, they have had to sell their hair just to make money. They have had to sell their hair to cross borders. So there's just a lot of tragedy associated with some fake hair. And then you put that on your hair, and it's like, in some ways, you're embodying tragedy. Woo, that's so deep, but it's not. But you know what I mean? These are things to really think about. Maybe you've never thought about it. Maybe you really don't care, and that's fine. This is not to say I'll never wear a fake hair girl, a wig. Ideally, I don't want to. I really want to get to a point where I fully embrace me, you know? I was saying something about damage. How we even view ourselves. A lot of us might not feel that beautiful when we have unless we have a certain hairstyle. I've heard YouTubers, vloggers, etc. who are black women who tend to mention how they prefer their hair in this style than that style because they feel prettier, or they feel more kept, you know, more put together, more snatched, more beat, flowerless. And it's unfortunate at times we have to take something that's external, apply it to make us feel beautiful inside. That in itself is a cry. There's like a cry for help. I know, I just don't want to make it sound that deep and, oh, this is so miserable. But there is some truth to what I'm saying. I know it's not the best. It's not me. Like with my usual videos, I hey, laughing and joking with everybody, but this is what happens when you do videos late at night. You just get really deep, like really, really deep. Another thing that I want to mention is it has and is for some damaging our paychecks. So allegedly, those of us who are of black descent, I love that word, black, I love being black, hello. Those of us who are black, I beg Richard, those of us who are black, those of us who are descendants of African descent, hello somebody, allegedly in the West, and let's be honest, there is some truth to this, even though I hate saying it, are not financially buoyant. Nigerians love to say that phrase, by the way. We're not really financially doing that well compared to some of our peers, and there's so many reasons to that. I'm not going to say, oh, because we just love to spend more. No, there's something called a black tax. Hello, if you don't know what a black tax is, you've all probably paid it. It's basically this tax where you just find your money going to other family members or friends that are in need. So we're quite generous. So the generosity sometimes is making us poor, but there's generosity and then there's just like stupidity. So I don't want to say generosity is making you poor. That's not the case. It's just we overgive. If that's a thing, I don't know if this is making any sense, but hey. So you've got things like that, the black tax, that be stealing our coins. You've got things that unfortunately, statistically, a lot of black people are, I hate this, but are quite impoverished in terms of their start. But several of us are bossing it and we're doing the thing, you know, we're doing the thing. And it's great that, but that I always feel like there needs to be more of us doing that, especially in the West. If you go to places like the continent, I will honestly say this, some of the most lavish homes I visited and slept in and even lived in, you know, for a short period of time, have been on the continent of Africa. And, you know, not to air my friend's business out there, but her family house in Jamaica, beautiful. That neighborhood, chef kids. Not see a neighborhood like that. I could just be in and out like that in the UK. No. So some of the best homes I've seen are in black nations, just saying. But in the West in particular, a lot of us tend to be more impoverished than our white and Asian counterparts for a number of reasons, of some of which I have touched on there. So if we are statistically not making the money allegedly like that, why are we spending hundreds and thousands on hair that is not ours? That doesn't sound like an investment. That sounds like a thorn in the flesh. Hello. Because back in the day when I used to wear hair, you're like, okay, I buy this hair, spend like £400 on it, and then I'm going to wear it for a year. You want to change up your looks? Remember, we like to change up our looks. It is what it is. So it doesn't only do, the protective styling doesn't only do damage on our hair, on some of our self-esteem, but also on our bank balances. One thing I do love though with the natural hair movement and the transition from embracing your natural hair to embracing natural textured wigs to hair that doesn't look like ours is that although that was quite negative, there is some positives in that we have seen a rise of black women selling the fake hair. So before it was, you know, non-black selling it to us as a community, which is great. So there is a sense of more ownership, which is excellent to celebrate. However, it's like it's still being hijacked by other people. I don't think that's the right word, but others who are not necessarily from our demographic are the ones who are still the biggest suppliers. And I know some of these changes are not going to happen overnight, but it is still nice to see, even though I think in many ways protective styles have damaged us as a community. I'm sorry I said it. In some ways it's profited us in massive ways. So you've got loads of women that are making serious money from selling that fake hair. Helping the community, girl. So guys, this video, I hope you... So guys, that brings us to the end of the video. Please do let me know your thoughts. I'm going to go to bed, but I'm probably going to watch some YouTube videos. And then read my Bible or read a book. I'm reading this book called Prayer by Ellen White. It's a really good book. I keep picking it up and putting it down. I've read bits of it here and there. If you want to improve your prayer life, check it out. But yeah, please leave a comment down below. I'm so tired. So I'm like this. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Please share this video with at least one friend. Have a good day. Ray.